Welcome to the first edition of Teacher to Teacher. One of the things about Vista that I think is really special is the culture we've built where we learn from each other, we share ideas, we take risks, and we try new things together. Each of these videos will be really short, concise, and will spotlight a teacher sharing something they are actually using and trying in the classroom. While there have been a lot of challenges that have come with 2020 and COVID and how that's impacted teaching and learning, I also think in some ways it's provided an opportunity for creativity. And I'm seeing a lot of the amazing professionals in our building who are finding new and exciting ways to connect with students, to facilitate really amazing learning moments and opportunities for our kids. First up this week is Jason Cochrane. Jason teaches science here at Vista. He's a member of the building leadership team. And he shared with me a really cool activity that he created with his students, a virtual escape room. So we're going to kind of jump in and hear from Jason about sort of the intention behind the virtual escape room, some of the things that he kept in mind as he built that. He's going to actually show it to us, and maybe it'll be something that you want to try. So thanks, Jason. Here we go.
Well, in chemistry, we've been doing escape rooms for several years now, and they're just fun to create and make with colleagues. They're fun to watch kids do, and it just wasn't something I was willing to let go in our virtual setting. And so I coupled Google searches and found some resources to piece together to build just a virtual version of it. And actually, some of the clues are actually the same as what we've used in the classroom. And the being able to break kids out in Google Meets works really well. You can give them the link to the virtual escape room, break out into the rooms, and then you can kind of pop in just like you would do in a regular classroom. So I think my biggest hope was to maintain the enjoyment I get out of creating, the enjoyment I see kids getting out of doing it, but then also the lack of engagement in our current virtual setting. It was enough for me to pull the trigger to try to make it happen. So I'm actually going to use it, I think, as a review for finals, moving into next week.
Sweet, very cool. Awesome. Well, I'm sure there are some teachers who want to hear a little bit about how you put this together. So could you just briefly share the process you went through to plan and implement this? And then if there are any tips you've learned along the way that might be helpful for teachers, and then feel free to share your screen if there's anything you want to show us.
All right. So this is what it looks like. Basically, all of this is a Google slide presentation, and every image you see was just a Google search of an image I was looking for, followed by PNG. PNG is just a file extension that doesn't have a background. So it kind of looks like everything was intended to be there versus like a white box or something like that. But when you drop those images in, and even the room is just an image. I literally just Googled like a room within the Google Slides app, and that just populates as a background. And I Googled door, and there you go. Periodic table, chandelier. So all of these are just images that I've popped in. And then when you right click on them, you can add a link. And so I'll click on some here in a second and show you like what it looks like. But the timer that you see, just because I only have about an hour with the kids, and I want to kind of give it that escape room feel if you were actually in there and you see this clock ticking down. This is literally just a YouTube video that you can choose to automatically play. So I just Googled within the Google Slides a search for YouTube of 60-minute timer. Found literally, I think, the first one that popped up, and I just embedded it within just pasted it within the room. And then I just clicked on a button that said automatically play. So literally, this is just one Google slide with a bunch of images and links. One little trick I would say that I found is I didn't want everything just to go to like a a document. I wanted it to be some sort of puzzle-esque. And so one thing I found was this jigsaw puzzle creator. And so if you click on like the periodic table here, it takes you to an image that I uploaded, and then it's a jigsaw puzzle is automatically created. So kids don't know what to do with this until it's actually created. So you have to manipulate the puzzle pieces and put them together until you are done, and then it becomes a little bit more obvious what you're supposed to do in order to get a clue. What the locks and stuff look like is just literally there in Google Forms. You can create locks. So this one is, zoom in a little bit here. Says what's the most common isotope of the hidden element in the room. So there's an element in the room, they need to find it. And then this is a 3-digit combination. So if they type something in, like this will say, and they hit next, you can even populate what this message is. I just said if your answer is correct, this message wouldn't be showing. But if it was the correct answer, then it takes them to a clue. And eventually, they get all of these clues that piece together, and they use those to open up the last lock. And in the last lock, there's a nickname code to join a Google Meet. So I just, as soon as I give them this link, I have a Google Meet that I open up, and I wait for the first team of kids to join me, and then I know that they've won. So I did put a couple things in here that are just go to nothing. Like if you click on the chandelier, there's this picture. If you're science savvy, you might know who that is. But so two links that go kind of nowhere, but everything else goes to either a lock. There's another lock, or some clues that I've got posted in there. So here is just so there's 3 questions, question 1, 2, and 3. After they've answered question 1, 2, and 3, so like the answer to this one, if it was 5, we'll say, then they would answer question 2. If the answer question 2 is 2, then they just piece those numbers together and eventually open up locks. So it's intended to think a little bit in how to arrange your numbers to open the locks, but all based on stuff we've been doing for the last 2 weeks.
So you put that all together using Google Slides, is that right?
Yep. Yes, just one slide with a bunch of images that have links.
Are there any resources that kind of helped you figure out how to do that might be helpful for a teacher who wants to give it a try?
Yeah, so there was one YouTube video on how to basically design your room, how to pull in images. So that one was really helpful. There was another YouTube video on how to design the locks using Google Forms. And then the two, there's like a maze generator. It's just a website. You type in a sentence and it generates a maze.
Awesome. We'll make sure to share those resources along with this video. Anything else that you want to share with teachers that might be helpful that you've learned along the way?
You know, I learned a lot doing this, but all of those resources I will share. So, okay. Or if anybody has any questions, I can definitely email. So,
thanks, Jason.
Mm-hmm.